This week on Friday, I stopped by Masjid el Iman in northeast for the Friday prayer, and a few people were in the mosque. In spite of that, the Imam was really enthusiastic and has a high charge sermon, and I was intrigued. And then after the prayer, I stopped by Dr. Hamdy al Sawaf, the Imam, and I had a conversation about how what's going on in Gaza in the last 9 months affecting his role as a Muslim Imam here in America.
My dear friend Ahmed, and your wonderful program Bil Ahdan, I really appreciate what you have been doing, and I may ask God Almighty to help you to do more and more. That's one thing. Second, to interview me today, it's an honor to be with you today. And regarding the question you asked, believe it or not, many Muslims are really ignoring what I will be saying. It's an obligation upon us Muslims to talk about what is going on in Gaza in particular, in Palestine, and not only since that October 9 of 9 months ago, but since 1948, the occupation of Palestine from those Zionists who came from Europe after that Nazi Hitler slaughtering and killing and so on and so forth. Do you know what happened in Palestine there? And it is an obligation upon us in Islam to find out what is going on, analyze it, understand it from the Islamic perspective, not from the Western perspective, not from the American perspective, not from the Arab perspective, from the Islamic perspective. What God Almighty has been teaching us in the Quran was revealed, 1440 years ago. You have 114 chapters, tells you about what is going on exactly today. If you go to what is going on, history of Jewish people with Moses, it is there. History of Zionism, it is there. History of what is going on, it is there. History of what is going on in Palestine and before Palestine, before they come there. So this is one thing I would love to emphasize, Ahmed. You have the authentic, the most accurate reference for you to learn from, not from the media, not from what you read in the newspaper and so on and so forth. And this is what I'm doing. Like today, for instance, we're talking about the second week of the lunar calendar. It started last week, the first month of Al-Muharram. The Hijra of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ from Mecca after being there for 13 years, receiving almost half of the Quran. But Mecca is no longer at that time the suitable place, the safe place for him, and those who came to Islam, the number did not even reach 100. It is time to move somewhere else. It is time to have the Hijra from Mecca with the believers in Mecca, with the Muhajirin of Mecca, go to Al-Madinah, the settlers of Medina, Al-Ansar, to live together and establish the first state of Islam under the leadership of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is really unfortunate where the majority of Muslims celebrating that Hijra event is one day to study what happened before Hijra during those 13 years that was led to the Hijra, to leave your hometown, to leave your birthplace, to leave your relatives and people to go somewhere else. Many things happening there in Mecca. This is what I'm studying and what I'm preaching last week and this week, and we will continue for maybe for 6 weeks.
But you're not asking for the Palestinian in Gaza to leave.
Asking
for the people, for Palestinian to leave and start a new ummah somewhere else.
No.
Like what happened in Mecca.
No,
this is a different story.
No, that's a different story.
Okay.
Palestine is there thousands of years.
Yeah.
Do not leave or do not make Hijra. That's a very good question. That's a really good question. Yes.
there is a billion and a half Muslims, and most of the anti-war and protest and anti-Zionist and anti-genocide and anti-new white settler in Palestine, it's happening in non-Muslim countries. And the Muslim world is very quiet and very disappointing in Arabic, and even in Egypt, mostly what's on the border is participating in suffocating the Palestinians. So as a Muslim, as an Egyptian, as an American, how this all played out? How do you sort it out?
As I said it in different Friday sermon since what happened, and in many interviews I had, in many places where I was invited to talk about what is happening and what's going on, I asked for two things that are really, really highly related: justice and peace for all. Not only for Palestinians and the Gazan people, for all. Mm-hmm. Either in Palestine itself, where the Jewish people are living there, including the Zionists there, justice and peace.
Which one comes first?
I would say justice.
No justice?
Be just. No justice, no peace. They came, majority of the Jewish people came from Europe to live in Palestine as the declaration of Balfour, or that promise of Balfour, to go live there, and they were welcomed by the Palestinian people, by Muslims and Christians, by the way. And no problem for them to come from Europe to live with them there as a Jewish people, along with the Muslim people and the Christian people.
I'm talking about the Islamic world position now. There is no movement. There is
nothing.
No
I said it today in our sermon.
Yeah.
I said, if you said 1.5 and I said 2.2 billion Muslim, where are they of what is going on? Nothing has been said.
What's happening?
Nothing.
Yeah, why is that?
Why is that? Because they are totally, absolutely away from the teaching of Islam. Or they know Islam, but they do not apply Islam.
Would you separate the governments from the people?
Of course. People all over the Muslim land, they want to do something.
Yeah.
They have some demonstration. They are willing to donate. They are willing to sacrifice. But the governments, a huge difference between ruling people in a Muslim land, in a Muslim country, or Arab land. Arabs wanted to do something. If they go for demonstration, say, we need to send more food, government say, no, suppress them, oppress them, stop all of this kind of thing. The same thing with Muslims, Muslim lands in everywhere. So I say, if you compare the Jewish people in Palestine, how many million? 7 million? Comparing with 1.9 or 2.
Less than what they have in America.
2 billion, and look how they are, defending their cause, whether defending it the right way or the wrong way, and people are listening to them. Where are Muslims?
Yeah.
What they are saying? Nothing. Got the suppression of their own government.
How does get to this? How do I have somebody like Al Sisi or bin Salman, bin Zayed, or the people even Erdogan, which is not listening?
One major thing.
This is in the making for many years.
Tell me about any one of them, the so-called Muslim leaders in any country, was elected officially. Yeah. Like what happened here in the United States of America. Whether we like Biden or not, but he was elected for 4 years. The one before him, Trump, was elected for 4 years. People in America did not like him. They did not, elect him again. He's running again. He might be elected or not be elected. Biden, the same thing. Are we having the same in a Muslim land? No. In Arab land? No. So you have just dictators. They do whatever they want to do, suppressing and oppressing their own people, shut them up, and they cannot do anything.
What's your feeling, our position as an American, when you see your government, your elected officials are supporting what's going on in Gaza?
The first thing, Ahmed, you might be surprised if I say this. I pay my taxes. You pay your taxes. And millions are paying their taxes. What my taxes money is utilized, and for where? and for what? First thing I have to ask. If it is for the benefit of people here and somewhere else, I'm 100% in support of it. If it is abused and misused, totally 100% against it. Whether it is weapons to the Israeli or the Zionist or somewhere else, or even Ukraine or whatever, first and foremost, utilize my tax money to my own benefit as an American citizen. If you're obligated to help people outside America, okay, you have to be fair enough in order to tell me your tax money has been utilized in a fair situation, in a fair issue, and we're helping people to be or other, or tell me if I'm sending weapons to the Zionist state in order to kill innocent people and children from my own tax money, does it make sense? Does not make any sense. Does not make any sense. And that's what I would love for people here in America. Wake up, find out where your tax money is going to and what it is used for or abused. You know, the first thing we got to do, and we have the obligation to do that, and we have the freedom to ask for this, but not too many people are asking for this.
You've seen some of the people who go out and say something in the line of what's going on in Gaza, anti-Zionist, pro-Palestinian. See people been fired, kicked out of airplane, been followed, been whatever. As a Muslim leader, have you experienced any of this? Any pressure? Do you feel free to express?
As a matter of fact, I wish I could be in all of these demonstrations, but I couldn't due to my health issue. But at least I'm utilizing the media, like in my Friday sermon, I speak out. Mm-hmm. When we're having some specific situation where I could be in order to defend this cause, like 2 weeks ago, we had as CARE organization here in Minnesota, we had a wonderful meeting with the interim president of the University of Minnesota to discuss all of these issues with him, along with the Board of Regents, in order to pave the road for the new president of the University of Minnesota, who took over only July 1st. We're discussing him, wonderful group, all of these issues with him, because with the demonstration of students at the University of Minnesota, some universities all over America, some called the police to arrest them or kick them out of the campus and so on and so forth. Here at the University of Minnesota, wonderful group of Muslims and non-Muslim, by the way, including some Jewish people, went out to say fair to be done to the Palestinian people.
Gaza is a very important place in Islamic history. Can you shed some light on the significance of Gaza in Islamic history?
First, as when Islam came from Mecca, Al-Medina, up north, it went there, to first Gaza, and then from Gaza to the rest of Palestine. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, historically speaking, if you talk about not only Gaza, but Palestine in general, what are the three important places in Islam? Mm-hmm. First, Mecca, where the Prophet of Islam was born, 13 years preaching there, 10 years in Al-Medina, the second one, and in the middle of those, Jerusalem in Palestine, where he went on the 12th year of his mission to go to, according to the story, miraculously, along with Jibril, go from Mecca to Al-Quds there, leading the prayer where all of the prophets and messengers was resurrected in order to pray behind him. Jerusalem, third important place in Islam. From there to the heavens, Al-Mi'raj. But there too you will find how many prophets were born in Palestine. and raised in Palestine and preached in Palestine. Many of them, take Ibrahim alayhi salam, the father of all prophets and messengers. Ibrahim, there, married to Sarah, there, have no children. God told him, okay, marry Hajar from Egypt, have the first son Ishmael, okay, but also will give you a son, Isaac from Sarah. So have Isaac, Jacob, down to the Jewish people, down to the Christian people, okay, Moses, Jesus. On the other side, Abraham, Ishmael, down to Muhammad. So we are, as a matter of fact, cousins. The question I ask in that interfaith dialogue we had in Thanksgiving, and somewhere I say, we are cousins. But how come cousins are fighting? How? This fact, by the way, Ahmed, a lot of people are not realizing, even within the Muslim people. So here, once you explain this to people, Muslims and non-Muslims, when I ask that question over in that Thanksgiving, say, please, Amy Galbuchur, by the way, she was attending, they say, aren't we cousins? Raise your hand. People were wondering, because maybe this is the first time they heard about it. It's not taught in the churches. It's not taught in synagogue. It is not that taught in our masajid as well. So at least you're realizing we're cousin, stop fighting. Replace it with justice and peace. Let's live together. All of us do something for the humanity.
But Israel, the Zionist project, is a Western colonial project. It has nothing to do with...
Yes, that's the problem, Ahmed. That's the problem.
There's no consonant. Well, Dr. Hamdy al Sawaf, Imam here of Masjisd el Iman.
But also Islamic Community Center of Minnesota.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much. I happened to be in his sermon here and talked about Palestine, and I was intrigued by his forthcoming about his position, and motivate me to sit down with him and have a conversation. And well, thank you so much for...
One more thing before you leave. I have the hope. And the hope, very, very optimistic. Soon.
Really?
Soon.
What's going to happen?
Soon we'll have...
On this hopeful note, we say goodbye and salam to Dr. Hamdy al Sawaf, the Imam of Masjid el Iman Northeast. Assalamu alaikum. We'll see you next week.